this out. Hi. So it's Wednesday afternoon. I've had a couple of conversations with clients today. This is what happens. I chat with people and there's like all of these firing things in my brain and tabs open and things I think about. And, I was trying to explain this it was just through a chat with a client today, but there were a few people that I chatted with. And I can't believe how often this comes up. I want to start with first. Food is not a binary thing. Feeding yourself is not a binary thing. I'm going to go off on all directions if this is too convoluted and too non-sequiturs. I don't even know how to say it. Then see ya, but also stick around if you want. Okay, so talking with clients today, specifically one gal, and she sent me a message. She said, I ate this and I had this kind of reaction. I have such lack of control when it comes to food. To which I wanted to throttle her. Sorry, I didn't really want to throttle her, but I did. I was like, I actually don't want to throttle her. I want to throttle the entire notion that she had a loss of control and she was a bad human. Wrong. You're not a bad human. So case in point was, I had this as a snack because I was out and about, and I thought, I should probably eat something. So I found these almonds that were coated with matcha, and this is what I would like to eat. So I had them, and then noticed that this happened. So first things first, I love that she was able to tie types of reactions that she was experiencing in the 6 hours following the snack to a snack she had on the road and questioning, geez, that's not stuff I eat all the time. What does that mean? Why did I have these reactions? So first things first, I think that's amazing. Second thing, in this scenario, I also want to say high fives to you, honey, because you were hungry and you ate. You didn't think you were supposed to stick to a routine or stick to these predetermined things. Always, the only rule I'll say is if you're hungry, for fart's sake, eat. So you won on that front, honey. Further to this, it became this self-deprecating, I did this wrong, and I can't control myself. And now I feel myself with these types of things showing up. And so there was and I hope perhaps I misinterpreted, but there was this sense of, so maybe I didn't do it right. I'm beating around the bush. The foods she ate were high histamine, unbeknownst to my sweetheart, that they were high histamine, and they brought on a reaction afterwards. Matcha-covered almonds. Almonds, if you're not digesting well, can trigger histamine release in the body for sure. Almonds themselves are not high histamine, but they can trigger the body to dump histamine. Matcha, which was the finishing coating on them, is high histamine, so can trigger histamine-mediated symptoms, for sure. So her symptoms, she was equating to the food she ate, which she was right to do so, and I love that because I think it's important to understand the impact and the kind of effect that the foods you eat can have on how you're going to make your way through the day. So, hooray. But then she said, I just can't control myself around sugar, and sugar is the devil. To which I went, wait a second. No way, no how is food ever bad or bad for you, or is there something wrong with you? There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. And there's not something wrong with you because you can't control your appetite or you can't control yourself around sugar. I want to make this very clear. If your body is craving sugar and you eat copious amounts in one sitting where you're like, oh my God, my self-control is out the door. I must be an emotional eater. I'm going to smack you upside the head. Okay, not you, but the collective we, because we've been led to believe that there's something wrong with us and that we need to change our ways because we're not good girls. And I'll be honest, this is mostly women, right? And the majority of people I work with is women. Fuck off with that. First of all, sugar is not the devil. I'm not saying go out and eat 5 cups of sugar. Your body needs carbohydrates to function unless you are in ketosis. And yes, carbohydrates can trigger certain things to happen in the body. I'm not going to deny. But so can protein. So are you supposed to not eat protein? No. Carbohydrates you need for thyroid hormone conversions. Carbohydrates you need for the energy output of every cell. That ATP cycle that makes energy, that makes you be able to be a human and get through your day doing things, you need carbohydrates for that to happen. Without carbohydrates, it won't work. It won't work as well. And if you don't have carbohydrates, now your body actually turns on the stress response in the body to root around and find some somewhere, because that's the brilliance of the stress response. It frees up fuel in your bloodstream so you can get out of harm's way. So, in all of this, I'm hungry, I'm going to go eat. She grabs the almonds with matcha. Down the hatch, good work. Eating stops the stress response in the body, right then and there, and actually stops a blood sugar imbalance issue. But Luca, I felt like crap afterwards. Wasn't that because of the sugar? Not necessarily. Sugar might have contributed. And I'm going to say if there's some kind of coating on the almonds, then there's going to be sugar involved somewhere. But there's also protein and fats in the almonds. And I'm assuming that there's going to be some type of fat in that coating, I'm going to hope, because it was picked up at a health food store. I'm going to hope that there was a fat of some sort. But the almonds themselves will have fat and protein in them. So carbohydrates by themselves can drive blood sugar imbalances. But if you pair them with protein and fat, you reduce that drive of the weird response that comes from sugars. So for those who have a high burden of stress, a lot of inflammation, stuff not going well in the body, histamine issues, doesn't matter, it's all the same thing. Well, it's not all the same thing, but stress and inflammation drives symptoms and histamine things, and it's what food can help with. If you're getting a reaction to the foods you ate and there was protein and fat along with those carbohydrates, then that tells me it wasn't the sugar that was a problem. It was actually a reaction to the other components in the food that might have triggered a type of reaction in this specific person's biochemistry and some of the stuff that was going on. It was a histamine-mediated reaction, which brought on other things. So, in that moment, should she have eaten something else? Oh, well, okay, maybe. Was that a terrible choice? No, because it actually... oh God, I'm going around in circles. It was the whole thought of like, there was this self-deprecation and this whole like, I did something wrong and I was bad, or I can't control, or this thing is bigger than me and I'm broken, was kind of or that's a little bit of what I heard. And I jump on that, something's wrong with me, I did something wrong, I'm broken. Oh my gosh, the sugar's the devil. Nothing's wrong with you. If when you sit down you're eating copious amounts and you can't stop yourself, that to me tells me that there's a hormone and or blood sugar imbalance at play. And when you start eating the foods that are going to start putting out that stress response, your body says, give me more. In that sense, eating carbohydrates actually turns off the stress response in the body. What's your body going to say but go, oh, that turns off stress. Can you eat more, please? Because we have a lot of stress. I need you to turn that stress off because I want you to live. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. There's not something wrong with you for wanting to chow down on a big amount of stuff my face kind of sitting thing. I realize we're getting into eating disorder territory, and that's a whole other kit and caboodle. I mean, when you're like, I'm a binge eater. Do you know what binge eating is? Binge eating is an indication that there's hormone and blood sugar imbalances. That's all it means. There's nothing wrong with you. If anything, that binge eating is actually a life-preserving mechanism. Is it a health-supportive, life-preserving mechanism? In the very moment, yes. Long-term, perhaps not. But is it the binge eating that's the problem? Or is it the fact that you have blood sugar or hormone imbalances driving this? It's the blood sugar and hormonal imbalances that are driving it. It's not because you're a terrible person because you're binging. It's because there is some type of stress level going on in your body. So first things first. To the next person who tells you, you're such an emotional eater, you smack them upside the head and you go, yeah, I am, because eating is an emotional act. How is food not an emotional thing? Food is what you bring when someone has a baby. Food is what you bring when someone's family member has died. Food is what you bring when someone's loved one is rushed to the hospital. Food is what you bring in family celebrations when your favorite nephew graduates. It is the thing that you bring when you go to Christmas at your favorite sister's house. I don't have a favorite sister. They're both my favorites. But food is a gathering thing where people surround, where people come around a table. Is eating an emotional thing? Mm-hmm. Is food an emotional thing? Mm-hmm. It sure is. And if you further try to separate emotion from food, you are further driving that divide between humans and nature. So shut your mouth to the person. That's what you could tell them. You shut your mouth when someone tells you, oh, you're an emotional eater. Hi, Marco. Are you an emotional eater? Heck yeah, I am. I love food. I love eating. I love sharing meals with people. I love cooking for my family. Sometimes I hate cooking. Is that an emotional thing? Yeah. Yeah, that's an emotion. It's a super valid emotion. Anyway, the shutting down and the canceling of things, done, right? So if you find yourself, geez, I have these cravings. Max agrees, right? Right, Max? It's the sun coming out. Don't be afraid. It's okay. It's been raining quite a bit here today. So when you find yourself, geez, here's the thing, and I had a reaction, I must have done something wrong. I want you to change the tape in your brain. There's nothing wrong with you. There is not this insatiable need to eat sugar all the time that makes you a terrible human. That's just telling us that something's off in the biochemistry of your body and it needs to be looked at. Food is one of those ways that we can actually help support that. And I have methods to my madness. Eventually, my goal for this sweetheart who's in my care is that we're going to keep checking in. How are the cravings going? Are they reducing? And if we're doing food things right, food has, if you go for that nutrient density, if you go for timing of meals, and if you do the biochemistry of supporting a human's metabolism is actually what it comes down to. If you're doing things right to support the metabolism, you now reduce stress, which reduces blood sugar imbalances, which reduces hormonal imbalances, which now reduces inflammation. And that can have pretty big impacts. It can start to curb the cravings. It can start to curb your desire to have a cup of coffee halfway between breakfast and lunch and that baked good at the kitchen table or the staff table in the staff room. It can have a pretty serious impact on improving how you move through your days. So when your body craves something next time, I want you to listen to your body and go, thanks for talking to me, bod. You're bodacious. And I want you to eat it. And then, if you need help because those cravings come a little too often, those, I'm not a good human, we'll turn that ship around. Never are you broken. Never is anything wrong with you. Always your body is choosing for you to survive the moment you're in. How can we get you through this current moment? You eat. How do we ensure these crises don't show up as often? Oh, we shift how you feed yourself. We bring in breakfast. We bring in protein and fats, and we take out the things that drive inflammation so that you don't have those imbalances. And we nourish you deeply. And then we calm the hubbub of what you're supposed to do. And we take that out of the equation. Because that's adding to the stress, and that's just too much. This is when working with a one-on-one person can be the best gift. Yeah, sure. I'll help you. Oh, for fart's sake, that is everything that I do. Yeah. But also, if you're not ready to work with me, I don't want you to think that this is only accessible to people who can pay someone for it. No, this is actually a shift that needs to happen on a global scale. We need to stop making food the enemy. We need to stop making all of these hard to attain rules that make it seem so impossible that it freezes us from being able to nourish ourselves and feed ourselves in a moment. My only rule for you is, are you hungry? Eat. If you're like, I want to eat this, but I'm going to have a reaction, then you take it one step further and you go, I'm going to bless this, and then I'm going to get on with it. Unless it brings on an anaphylactic reaction, don't eat it, obviously. Like, ugh. Anyway, I'm all saying a whole bunch of nothings just to tell you that you're not broken. You're perfect how you are. And it's not a platitude to try to get more likes and more follows on my page. It's really just a bone I need to pick with society. Can we stop making food so hard to achieve and only to the select few who went to school for it? Honestly, when people work with me and when we're done, they're like, actually, I can eat all of the things. Yeah, you can. You sure can. Oh, yeah, some foods will contribute to certain symptoms, like histamines, but going low histamine diet doesn't fix a histamine issue. It's way more complicated than that, but the simplicity at the end of the day is, are you hungry? Eat. That's actually where you start. I'm off my soapbox. Goodbye.